Welcome to this military intelligence analysis program. They were once the most ardent cheerleaders for the war in Ukraine. Since Vladimir Putin launched the full-scale invasion in 2022, these were the people who chronicled every move. Using social media, they played a key role in spreading the Kremlin's desired narrative. They are Russia's Z bloggers. And for nearly 4 years, Putin happily let these bloggers operate because they served a strategic purpose. But that is no longer the case. In a fit of paranoia, Putin now seems to fear everyone. He has begun to eliminate his own supporters, and Russia's pro-war bloggers are next in the line of fire. On November 17th, The Economist published a bombshell report, asserting that Russian authorities had turned on their own bloggers. The Kremlin's judicial machine, it noted, has taken a break from its usual diet of intellectuals and opposition politicians. The Z bloggers, named for the Z symbol on Russian armor, are now facing punishment for saying too much. You need only know 3 names to see what the Kremlin is doing to its once most loyal supporters. Those 3 names are Roman Alyokhin, Tatyana Montyan, and Oksana Kobeleva. All 3 found themselves persecuted. Alyokhin, with 151,000 followers, was labeled a foreign agent by the Kremlin in September for criticizing the army. In recent months, Putin has used the foreign agent label more broadly than ever before, signing a new law. Now, the Kremlin can legally apply this label to anyone accused of gathering information that could harm the military. But compared to the other 2 names, Alyokhin may have gotten off lightly. His punishment was less severe than Montyan's. In October, Montyan became the first war blogger to be labeled a terrorist by Russia, a severe designation. Putin may have reason to target Montyan. The Guardian revealed the commentator was born in Ukraine. Despite this, she was allowed to speak at a UN Security Council meeting, echoing Putin's justifications for the invasion. The woman who betrayed Ukraine for Putin has now been betrayed by the very leader she supported. Finally, there is Kobeleva. While the other 2 were labeled, Kobeleva was already in Putin's hands. According to BBC monitoring, she was arrested on November 5th by a Russian anti-extremism police unit. She was accused of having once supported the deceased opposition leader Alexei Navalny, despite her pro-war stance. These were 3 Putin supporters, but Putin turned on them, and he will likely turn on others. That's according to Tatyana Montyan, a senior Russian defense official, who confirmed this was not a misunderstanding. Instead, these incidents represent the start of a broader crackdown on what he called Russia's internal enemies. Montyan warned Z bloggers to align with the Kremlin or be legally destroyed, adding, "The machine will ramp up." To understand why this is happening, it's important to grasp the role these bloggers played in Russia. They are a loose collection of individuals, known as voinkori, who act like independent reporters on social media. So why would an ordinary Russian care? Because they often provided more in-depth reports than state-run media. Many bloggers didn't hesitate to criticize what they saw as incompetence in the Russian military. And there was plenty. However, they almost always stopped short of criticizing the special military operation, or Putin himself. One blogger, Yuri Kotenok, posted, "Even cancer can be cured. But Ukrainianism never. It is a type of Satanism. It can only be destroyed by one thing, fire, all-consuming fire that will cleanse this filth." With rhetoric like that, it's hard to believe the Kremlin would label a Z blogger a foreign agent or terrorist. As the Moscow Times noted, they often shared detailed maps and pro-Kremlin propaganda that Putin surely loved. Often with hundreds of thousands of followers, pro-war channels occupy a curious niche in the Russian media landscape. CNN added that Z bloggers often had deep sources within the Russian military, which is why they could provide unique information. This relative independence and access to sensitive information, however, became a double-edged sword for the Kremlin. This brings us back to the core question: why is the Kremlin targeting its most effective propaganda tools? However, there is another, more practical reason related to corruption and logistics in the Russian military. The state has clearly invested heavily in mass-producing arms, but a lot of the less flashy kit is procured by donation campaigns. This matches reports that Russian soldiers have resorted to crowdfunding to get even the most basic equipment. The Kyiv Post confirmed this with an intercepted call where a soldier said, The rest we have to buy ourselves. It all seems to come down to one thing. The Z bloggers became too big. Now, Putin is putting them in their place. They publicly criticized corruption and mismanagement in the Ministry of Defense, but always in the name of helping the war effort. As early as September 2022, some bloggers were already claiming Russia had lost the war in Ukraine. They were furious about the lack of defense that allowed Ukraine to destroy a large part of Russia's strategic bomber fleet. This could be the death of semi-independent journalism inside Russia, as Putin's paranoia leads him to exert ever more control,